Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video we are making a dessert, and this one is the baklava. Now baklava is made in many regions, and of course that varies. So they make it in Turkey, they make it in the Middle East. This one is made in Greece and Cyprus. It's the recipe they use, and it's the traditional one. And of course I like it because it's not too sweet and it's not very complicated to make either. It does take some time, like getting the cuts right and all of that, but it is amazing. It tastes amazing. The flavors are very much worth it, and let's show you guys how. So of course, to start, we need to prepare the syrup first, and to make the syrup for this baklava recipe, here we have 1 cup of sugar, 2 cups of water, 2 to 3 tablespoons of rose water, the juice of half a lemon, and here we have, for aromatics, some cloves and a cinnamon stick, and also 3 tablespoons of Greek honey, only because this is a traditional Greek recipe, but if you don't have Greek honey, you can use any other honey. For the filling, here we have 2 cups of walnuts and 1 cup of almonds that we've roasted in the oven, 3 tablespoons of sugar, 1/4 teaspoon clove powder, and here we have a full teaspoon of cinnamon. You can use more if you want to, it depends on your preference. And of course the main ingredients, puff paste, phyllo pastry. Phyllo pastry, make sure it's phyllo pastry, and 250 grams of butter. So our first step, in a saucepan we're going to put the cup of sugar, and just to save us some time, we're going to use our pre-boiled water, and we're going to measure 2 cups. Cup number 1 and cup number 2. Cup number 2. We're going to give it a gentle stir and put it on heat, medium heat. And we'll also be adding the aromatics right now. So now we're going to keep stirring until all the sugar dissolves and you don't see any sugar particles left. And then once it starts to boil, we're going to add lemon juice, and after that we're going to count for 10 minutes. While our syrup is boiling, now we're going to start processing our nuts. So leave some small chunks in there just for a nice addition of textures. So as you can see, the sugar solution has started to boil. Now we're going to add lemon juice. And we'll mix it and set a timer for 10 minutes. And we're going to set a timer for exactly 10 minutes, no more, no less. So we've blended our walnut, and this is the kind of consistency. So not everything should be a powder. We should have a few chunks in there just for some nice texture addition. And now we're going to do the same thing to almonds and add them to the walnut, since we're going to be mixing everything. So we blended our almonds too, and once again, same thing. We need to leave a few chunks out just to, for a nice texture. So we're going to add them to the walnuts. So to the bowl, we're going to the almonds and walnuts, we're going to add the sugar, clove powder or powdered cloves, and of course cinnamon. And we're going to mix those together. So after we've mixed all of this together, now we're going to set it aside and move on to the next step. So it's been about 10 minutes exactly. So now we're going to add the honey. So we are going to mix it. After adding in the honey, we're just going to give it a gentle mix. And now we're going to add the rose water, and it smells amazing already. We'll mix that also, and then we can take it off the heat. So now we're going to wait for it to cool down a little bit, and once it cools down a little bit, we're going to take the cloves and the cinnamon stick, and then we'll leave it to completely cool off, because we cannot work with it while it's hot or even warm. It needs to be completely cooled down. So to assemble everything, here we have 250 grams of butter that we've melted, and we're just going to spread it over our pan and spread everywhere, so the base, the sides, the edges, the corners, everything. We have our phyllo pastry that we've cut in half, and even if it rips, no problem, because with the baklava everything will stick together eventually. And we're going to spread 4 base layers, and between each layer spread some butter. So we're going to spread 4 to 5 papers over for the base, and between each one you're going to spread some butter, and you can totally fold it. Only, for example, you folded the first layer on this side, you have to fold the second layer on this side, and so on. So at this point we've preheated our oven to 170 degrees Celsius, and after spreading the 4 layers of pastry, the phyllo pastry, now we're going to take a quarter of the nuts mixture, and we're going to just spread it on the layers. So after you spread the layer of nuts, now we're going to spread 2 more layers of phyllo pastry, and then we're going to put the nuts, phyllo pastry, nuts, after each 2 layers of phyllo pastry you're going to add a layer of nuts. So I've added the layer of phyllo pastry. Now we're going to spread it with butter. So now we'll add a second phyllo pastry and fold it from here. And we're going to add nuts to it. So I'm going to continue with this method until I run out of nuts, and of course I finish the entire so we're done with all of our layers. We finished our nut mixture, and now we're going to just put 4 layers on top, and then we can bake it. So now we're just going to press down on the edges so that it looks nice on top in a nice uniform shape. So now we're going to try to cut it into squares, and at this point I'm going to ask help from an adult because I'm very clumsy with knives and I injure myself very easily. Recently got this injury, but which is why I'm going to ask an adult to help me with this step. So once we've cut the baklava, here now we're going to take the rest of our butter and we're gently going to pour it on top. So once we've poured the butter on all the top, so even the corners and everything needs to be soaked in butter. So now we're going to bake it in the oven at 170 degrees Celsius for about 40 minutes, or until nice and crispy and golden. So the rack needs to be in the middle, and of course place your tray in the middle, and we're going to bake it for 40 minutes at 170 degrees Celsius, of course keeping constant watch on it. So we took it out of the oven, and it looks amazing right now. It smells great. So now we're going to pour all of this syrup on top of it. So once we've poured all of the syrup on it, now we're going to wait for it to cool down, and then we'll garnish it with some pistachios. So this is what it looks like after it has cooled down. Now it's recommended to cool it down overnight, and we've also paired it with some Greek coffee. This is Greek coffee served in a Greek cup because when we do something we like to go all out, so it's Greek baklava paired with Greek coffee on a Greek cup. Everything really needs to look the same, I guess. So I can't wait to try it because it really smells amazing, especially with the coffee. So we've served it into small pieces just so that it's easier to eat, and usually we eat it with fork, but I don't really like to eat it with a fork. The flavors are wow. It's like more than wow. I really am lost for words. And this doesn't really happen that often. And I think, to put it plainly, it tastes, it reminds me of my trip to Cyprus, because the flavors are really like, they're just spot on. It really tastes like it's a nice bite of Greece and Cyprus, and it really reminds me of my trip to Cyprus, and that brings up like a lot of memories, that because it was really a wonderful trip. So I highly recommend trying this, and I also highly recommend just going to Cyprus or Greece, because one of the best places I've ever went to. But yes, I highly recommend trying these because they taste amazing together. So this brings us to the end of today's video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it, and if you like this kind of content, please like, share, subscribe, comment down below, and follow me on my social media so you guys can support me to make more content. I'm available on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Discord. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.